Today is day 36 of our journey through Lent, and we're all reading together from John's Gospels, chapters 5 and 6. There is so much in these two chapters, including Jesus' claim to be the Son of God, feeding the 5,000, Jesus walking on water, and Jesus' teaching on the bread of life. So much and only a few hundred words to describe it. In chapter 5, John relates Jesus' healing of the lame man at the pool in Bethesda. John writes that Jesus returned to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish holy days. Near the sheep gate, inside the city, was the pool of Bethesda, which had 5 covered porches. John says that the man Jesus healed was one of crowds of sick people, blind, lame and paralysed, all lying on the porches. The man had been ill for 38 years, and when Jesus saw him, he knew that he'd been ill for a long time and asked, "Would you like to get well?" The man replied, "I can't, sir, for I have no one to put me into the pool when the water bubbles up. Someone else always gets there first." Jesus simply said, "Stand up, pick up your bed and walk." And instantly the man was healed. I began to think about the significance of what had happened to the people who were left behind at the pool, the people who were still in pain, unhealed and unhappy. And who would help them to pick up their mat and walk? Who would help them into the pool? If we are left behind, does that mean that Jesus doesn't love us, that we've done something wrong, or that we aren't as worthy as others? Is this encounter just about healing of the lame man and those left behind are shut out? I don't think so. Healing in the Gospels has everything to do with the forgiveness of sins and having a glimpse of God's power and God's kingdom coming on earth, and is not just about getting up and walking. The man is clear that he was alone and had no one to help him to the pool. When the waters were stirred, therefore, someone always got there first. As human beings, we need others. Our Christian faith is relational in nature. We need God and we need each other. We just haven't been created to be alone, and although God doesn't need us, he constantly searches us out and waits for us to respond. But will we? We need to be in the stirred up water that is alive with the Spirit in order to be healed, in order to be well. We need to die to our own sin and find abundant life in that water. It simply isn't enough to be lying on our mat and watching from close by. We need to be fully immersed and not just observing. The man had been near the pool probably every day for 38 years, wanting to be healed, and that's a lot of days. And when Jesus asked him if he wanted to be well, instead of saying yes straight away, he started to complain about being alone and not being able to get to the water first. Was he worried about leaving everything that was familiar, even though it made him miserable? But the man chooses not only to listen to Jesus, but to act on Jesus' command. He is obedient and responds to God's invitation, and we are called to do the same. What am I reluctant to leave behind? Do I really want to let those things go and be truly well? I wonder, what is my mat padded with? Envy, guilt, anxiety, worry? And are these more familiar and comfortable than what God's asking me to do? So back to those who are left behind. Jesus is actually talking to all of us. We've all sat on those mats at various times and have probably all had times, if we're honest, when we've felt left behind. If we are completely honest, however much we hate it, our mat can feel comfortable and safe to keep returning to. But Jesus asks us to take a risk, get up and walk, and his rewards will be amazing. As Christians, we're called by Jesus to help others to get up off their mats and walk, and to be well. But first, we have to be brave enough to leave our own mats behind.